Here we are. So here we are the day after the big solstice and the big conjunction square, which is really powerful. And so I'm really glad we're together on this day because there's such a huge shift in energy, and let's write it in behalf of who, of everyone. So hello, Matt Maoli, and thank you for all of the students who had wanted to be here but couldn't for a lot of different reasons, and just let me know. So you're here also, and you'll be getting the recordings, and we're holding space for them, right? Okay, so let's just take a moment to set our circle. And as we're sitting within our physical body in our homes, we are so appreciative of the opportunity to just hold space together, to be in a place where there's stability, place to breathe. And as we honor that physical space, we also honor our physical body that has given us the opportunity to be on this journey at this moment in time, learning what we've learned, exploring what we are to explore. And we're taking responsibility for that which our life is about by learning. So that is the space that we're in. We sit in the sacred ground of sovereignty, calling forth the enclosure flame of the guardian circle protocols of healing, stabilizing, of secured channels to good. And immense teams within our unseen world who have worked diligently with us and will remain working with us to identify frequencies that are of outsider origin, domination origin, parasitic origin, identify, neutralizing, and removing them for our space, for our homes, for our land, and for the greater planetary, global families and land. So we call forth that energy as we sit, activating it as a surrogate for all. So get a sense of those beings who feel to be with you during this time together. You may sense their presence as energy, as a thought form, as a memory to remind you that they're there with you. And our circle is set for our class number 3. And so it is. Okay, so now we're going to put ourselves in the circle. So I'm going to start, and then I guess who's next is you. So Sharon Raji Maynard here. It's Woodby Island. It is an amazingly sunny, warm day, which is kind of unusual. Here we are, winter solstice, and it's almost like summer. It's really amazing. I'm really excited for the shifts and changes I've felt already so far today, and what then I want to share with you during this class. So glad to be here. And I think I said Woodby Island, Washington State. And I'm passing to you, Aoli.
Hi, it's Mayoli. I'm here in Traverse City. It is nice and snowy. Yesterday was beautiful. I was out in the snow all day. I actually explored in my backyard and found like a lake and a whole world in my backyard that I didn't even know existed. I've been so focused on the lake in my front yard. I didn't even know there was a lake in my backyard. And yesterday, it was just something, it's like being in a snow globe. It was like the quintessential snowy day, big fat flakes. And I went out with my boyfriend and my son, and we like let our inner children play. Like we had snowball fights, and I found out my boyfriend likes to play football and I like to play football. So we flew, threw the football around, and I gave a little offering, and it was it was just so nice. It was so happy, and it was just so it was so very integrating for me. I've been having a lot of things going on, and it's been just such a intense period that it was really nice just to have. I've been doing a lot of surrendering and a lot of letting go and allowing for new things. And it was nice just to have a peaceful, easy, fun day. And it just really felt good. Like that's everything I've been wanting to call in is more moments like that, more days like that, just enjoying the present moment, um, just with a lot of light. And it felt really, really good.
Mm, I can just feel
It
that
felt
for that.
really good.
And really, that's where we're going, for sure.
Yeah,
Oh, just
it was great.
hold those is the energies for everyone as we move forward. So I thought I would start kind of with a where we are in this moment with this third class. And I want to begin by saying, why galactic? Why is galactic even important? And it's like trying to build a home, and there are plans available, but you're not willing to look at possibilities of what the past has shown. And you're going to build plans according to some of the plans that didn't work before, wondering why they didn't work before. Maybe if you added more mortar or you did wood instead of brick, it would work. Well, the galactic tells us why we are doing what we're doing. And that's been hidden from us. It's been twisted, it's been turned upside down. Most everything out there in the world is backward to what it was we intended. And we've so forgotten it that we're trying to build healthy lives on a landscape that is corrupted with domination. So that's why it's important to what was it, what we were about. So one example for it is the concept of you're not enough.
Hmm.
And you're not enough foundations marketing,
Hmm.
which is a small piece of the mind things that happen with you're not enough. You're not enough, so buy this. You're not enough, so buy that. This isn't enough, so try that. It keeps us always off balance. And if we only use our current understanding of healing, we would have to assume that that concept is something I made up. It's my monkey mind, it's my ego speaking, and all I have to do is catch it and remind myself that I'm magnificent. Catch it and remind myself I'm magnificent. Catch it, use my healing tools on it. If you don't know that not enough is a broadcasting from the outsiders from the third world, that's where it began, then all of that you do to try to heal it will never heal it, because we as a family, you as an individual, didn't create it. You don't own it. You buy into it, but if you don't understand, you don't have the power to eliminate it from yourself with all of your healing modalities. Then all you're going to do is spend your time every once in a while catching yourself. And I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it, but it will never go away. So that's one example of why it's important to know the galactic history. Because now, okay, not enough. Are you of my light? No, I'm not of your light. Then you can use that healing tool, which is more of a galactic healing tool, to say, oh, not of my life, deep six it, PTO, move it off, clear it out. Now the cause is eliminated for you. And then anything you've bought into or created from it can be healed. Just one example, you see. So it gives you more understanding and greater power, really, because you know what has been trapping us in those worlds. And there's so many things that have been trapping us, that knowing about them, having processes in order to disconnect from them in the galactic world, now your healing tools can begin to work more effectively. The other thing about this class, this course actually, is to understand this is what we were dealing with before the earth was created. We were dealing with the chip that kept us going into disconnect from home, a chip, a program, disconnect from home, not enough, a constant broadcasting, sacred contracts we made to turn our energy down or to signal for help. So injuries, kidnappings, all of those things that had been done in the galactic worlds influenced and continue to show up in this world. Well, by knowing that, well, no wonder we've been such a mess. No wonder we haven't been able to be free. It's not your problem. It's not because you're not enough. It's not because you haven't done enough. It's because there are things you didn't know. And when we know, Maya Angelou, right? When we know better, we do better. So clarity. The other thing that's important about this course is to let you know that there are corrections that have been made as of 2020. No, 2000 actually, 2000 till now. And those are the corrections. Like the chip is no longer there. That's not automatic any longer. We've eliminated it from the third world. So it will be quicker for you to grab hold of the correction. Some of the concepts that the 13th group took on, like it's all my fault, help will never come, we're totally screwed. All of that's been cleared so that you can anchor to that correction. The not enough broadcasting has been stopped in the third world so that when you claim it in your life, it's like instant. Okay, you got it. So knowing what has been corrected gives you greater clarity because you are not stuck in the same energy field that was there in 2000. Totally different. Now, what's happened in the last few days is something that's also important, but that's present day. Galactic is what we need to understand so that we have a different place to stand, which brings us to having more hope for this moment, right? So we've had the Jupiter and the Saturn conjunction every 20 years or so forever, which says open the door to Aquarius, open the door to Aquarius, open the door to Aquarius. And Aquarius is basically what can we use in that world of imagination, of inner abilities, people call it water. How can we use some of those beyond Earth processes to make our lives better? The first time I was aware of it was in the 80s, and I participated in it. But we were still stuck in the galactic mess, 1980s. And so, although the hope was there wasn't much change. Okay, now it came around like in 2000, and we were still stuck in the galactic mess. So the hope was there, the possibility was there, but there hadn't been enough done in the galactic worlds to really bring forth what it was that those planets were calling forth. So here we are, 2020. There has been 20 years of those of us working diligently in the galactic field, in the galactic worlds, so that they no longer are entrapping us. Very different. We've had 2020 wake-up call across the planet so that people are like, whoa, what do I do? Something's wrong. So there's a wake-up that's been happening because the galactic broadcasting from the outsiders hasn't been there to keep us going downhill. So we've been able to wake up differently. So here we are, opportunity again Pluto's in the picture saying, let's let go of what isn't truth, of what doesn't serve. And the opening from this point on, I think, is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And it has a lot to do with the healings that's been done, but a lot about releasing in the galactic worlds. So that's why understanding the galactic worlds, we have greater understanding of why we've been so stuck. We have an understanding of what needed to be done. We have an understanding of what has been done that we can hook onto. And then we're able to have that hope and excitement for the new, and really see that energetically we're going to be foundationed in it. So that's why I think this little course is mighty, mighty important right now. So I want to just open the floor for you, what you're noticing even in your life, like yesterday, what you noticed in your life, or, just in the last, say, this is the coming up. We've been doing this 2 weeks because this is the beginning of the third week. So what has this course brought for you, either in awareness or tools or questions?
Just so much resonance. Like you were saying, it really explains so much for me. Like, I mean, you're hitting it, the not enoughness, it's everything's my fault, it's never going to get any better, or like just that I'm alone in the whole thing, that, like it's all on me and that's it. And I'm all alone and I'm like my own little personal island over here and no one else gets it. And then this constant feeling like, but this isn't mine. Like I'm feeling all these things, all this programming is here, but it's not mine. Like, where did this come from? And I can see in my own construct where some of it has come from. I can definitely see that I was like kind of born into a family of others, so to speak, or the outsiders or whatever. But it's, I don't know, it's helping so many things fall into line for me. And then I'm feeling those shifts, that being able to deep six, really calling in and really being able to connect to what's been around me. They've always been there. I just didn't know it. And so then being able to connect to them and really fostering that connection and feeling them. And there's been so many shifts, deep sixing things and letting go of things that, is it of my light? No, then deep six it, gone, and really feeling it be gone. Like I've been in healing. I mean, since I was a kid, since I was 6. I mean, I've been doing this since forever, and my parents, but it's always very cyclical. And so it's like I heal a little bit and then it comes back around, and then you heal it again and then it comes back around, and you heal it. And it reminds me of like a sago palm. And sago palms are these really hardy palm trees in Florida, and you can pull them out, but if you don't get the ball root at the very bottom, which sometimes can go really deep in the ground, if you don't yank that, it's going to grow right back. It's going to grow right back. And so I've always been like, why does this keep coming back? There's got to be a root somewhere that I'm missing, that it keeps coming. And this feels like that missing. This is that root ball, that being able to deep six, recognizing that it's coming like from the galactics and not necessarily me, but it's something that's been programmed and keeps cycling through, has just been huge for me. And then like every week there's something, like this past week, a lot like responsibility has been coming up, and how a lot of times I'm noticing this pattern within people of like giving away their power so they don't have to take responsibility, like that idea of victimization. And the more I'm a victim, the less I'm responsible. So then the less I actually have to take responsibility for where my life is, because I'm a victim. And I've been recognizing that a lot in other people. And I used to be that way. I used to very much so. I victimized myself, and I was constantly depleting my own power because I was a victim, instead of recognizing. But then to claim my power, also recognize, well, shit, now I have the responsibility of maintaining this, and there's a lot of responsibility that comes with healing, and that comes with taking all this on and accepting this work and all of these things. And so it's interesting, so I've been seeing that connection, and you mentioned it. It was you used the word earlier and when we were opening, and it's just like, yeah, that's resonating with me too a lot. So it's just a lot of these things that are coming up are things that have always been kind of at my core. And I didn't understand why, and now I'm understanding why. And like the eradication of not enoughness. And I've really felt that shift a lot lately. And then feeling that shift of being enough. Other doors are opening. So like my career's escalating, and then even like my creativity, like balancing my own inner masculine and inner feminine. My creative juices have been flowing in a way that they've never been before. And I'm not I used to feel like I wasn't enough. I used to really be hypercritical of myself. And a lot of that hypercriticalness is falling away because I'm realizing how much that was associated to the sense of not enoughness. I was hypercritical because I felt like I wasn't enough. Um, and so it's been really cool kind of watching that shift, and even being able to just in my own mind, seeing when it happens and being able to course correct. And then again, is this my light? Is this not my light? Not my light. Let's deep six this. And it really does deep six. It's not, the monkeys, there's nothing left. There's no bananas to give the monkey. There's not even a monkey there in the cage anymore. Like, it's just gone. And so that's been really, really, really powerful. And even now I study the runes, and I'm on like the Nordic shamanic path, and I study that with Jeremy and Kelly. And you're talking now, and it just reminds me so much of a rune, and I keep seeing it in my mind, and I'm seeing other people who kind of are into galactics and kind of not working with this same rune. And it's Dagaz, and it's all about new beginnings and clearing the old to start fresh, and being able to bring in like a new day, a new dawn, a new light, a new age. And that's kind of what Dagaz represents. And so it's just, and I've been seeing it, and people have been working with it a lot. And so it's just, I don't know, the way it's all so interconnected, and it's just bringing together all these aspects of my life that used to be all so separate from each other. So then I felt very separate internally and very scattered, and it all just feels like a coming home. Yeah.
Wow, that's good to hear. You know what I know from having been in this field for a while is, you talked about people playing the victim game, and you're seeing it. You're remembering that you did it, but you're seeing it. And in my experience, you cannot see the game if you still have the patterns of the game.
Ah, yeah.
So it's a really, for me, it's like kudos, because whatever you've done to eliminate enough of your own old, I'm a victim, is gone, or you would not see it in others.
And others,
And that's,
yeah.
so a big pat on the back is that's big. That's really huge. So, and that
Oh,
that thing of, in a galactic landscape, when you have a landscape that's not just big enough, but that is based on truth, I would say truth, whatever that truth is, then you begin to see this and that and this and that, and they start to weave together. Where if you're on this other game board, or I'll say landscape of of domination culture, they cannot come together, because this is either this is right or this is right. This is right or this is right. And it's either or.
yeah.
And when you're on that, you kind of try to weave them together, but the culture energy pulls them apart, keeps pulling them apart. So that's why for me, it's really important, as we're having the opportunity to build the new world, that we consider the galactic landscape, because the energetics is that is we're working together, the bigger picture, and it's just a different vibrational field. Build on sand or build on solid. That's what
Mhm.
what I see.
And
So
I love that analogy of that foundation. I'm divorced, but with my
yeah,
ex-husband,
yeah.
so much of our marriage, we had our son very early on in our marriage, and our son became the foundation. And I used to use that analogy all the time to my ex-husband. I'm like, babe, our son, like, you want to build a foundation of a marriage that's going to last 50 plus years. You can't build a house on a foundation that's going to disintegrate in 18 years. You want the house to last 100 years? If the foundation disintegrates in 18, what good is that? So if you want to build a marriage, which is a house, on a foundation or pillar of a child that's going to leave the house someday, then what happens to the house? What happens to the marriage if all we have is our kid? Well, I mean,
Perfect.
the marriage didn't last anyways, but it was just, I love your analogies and the way you speak, because it's like I speak like that too, and
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, it's
I've never seen an analogy used in a marriage, but how many marriages that are rocky, and long-term relationships will always have rockiness in them, because
Mhm.
all of a sudden my triggers and his triggers or your triggers come up, and so it's not about not having the rockiness, because it happens, but like you said, if the foundation is we have a child, that's a sandy foundation, isn't it? I love that.
Yep.
Thank you. That's a really good sharing. So what we're going to do is we're going to move into the galactic picture, the galactic landscape, as it relates to us souls in a female body. So here we are. We come into a bodysuit, each incarnation, whatever we choose it for that incarnation. The big mission is determined by the bodysuit. I might say it this differently. The mission we choose determines the bodysuit we birth into, because the bodysuit's not in charge. So we choose a mission, and if we choose a mission to design culture, to discern what will be good or not good for the culture, a mission to speak with authority to keep that culture in alignment to our design. If that's what we're choosing, we're born into a female body. And how many times have I heard, not lately, but early on, oh my gosh, I wish I had a handbook. Where is Physical Life 101? It's like, but the original DNA, which also was the chakra system, was the handbook. It was a natural step to plan unfoldment. And all we do is listen and follow and listen and follow. And the handbook, we carried it in with us within the DNA, the chakra centers. So when 600,000 years ago or whatever, I'll use the Neanderthals as an example. We come into this bodysuit and we've got a mission and we're fulfilling on that mission. But as soon as it was discovered by the outsiders that there was a bodysuit on the planet that was not owned, as soon as they became aware of the female who was unowned, they stepped in. They owned the energy through the male. They crippled the DNA. They crippled the engineering. And those power centers, the DNA, the natural booklet for our unfoldment went offline. So we're pulling it back online. So the most important aspect of Earth mission was to have somebody who had authority. Without a person who had authority, we just continued the outsider ownership. So critically key to Earth mission, to Earth purpose, is a soul in a female body who is restored to her assignment to speak truth and authority, to design, to discern, and to remove. Without that, that's why we are in the mess we are in. It's not because we don't have male-female balance. That is not the problem. The problem has been women soul in female suits taken offline. Therefore, the souls who chose the authority of mission placed themselves into the female bodysuit. Now I put that wrong. And then the bodysuit for the male body carried the extra contract of ownership in order to free the soul of authority. So the male body was owned. And through our galactic world, the soul was owned. But they're carrying two contracts, so they're being monitored all the time. They have to be obedient to the masters, so they're keeping their self low key. Now, the female body with no ownership was free. Outsiders didn't know she was there. And she could function in that denser energy of Earth, into the Earth, working with Gaia, looking about where we could be on the planet, her little village, and she would help move the village around as she had the village explored. So she was in the position of leadership. Males were in the position of nurturing, adding heart energy, which looked invisible to the outsiders. They thought these souls in this body were just lazy doing nothing. And that was their gift. That was what they were to do while the female did her mission. So for the male, the first three chakras, the causal, control central is everything online. Yes, I'm ready. Birth into the body and activate the crown to keep connected to inspiration, to sun. Totally hidden because that was too high of a frequency for the monitoring of outsiders. It's like some medical machines cannot measure energy until it gets a little bit more dense and more farther along in damage, right? It's the same thing. So the crown holding possibility and bringing that possibility energy through the heart, adding that power of the heart into the village. And they were to stay at that point of evolution until the female got the outsiders under control. Now, when you think about that, the females haven't got the outsiders under control. And in the original plan, the males would have been staying in this place of all possibility nurturing. They would have never become corporate leaders. They would have never run for political office. They would have never taken over corporate farms. The only reason those things happened is because the outsider crippled, took over the male body, and started running the show. Okay, so let's get into this. Is a little, so here's the path for female mission. Causal chakra, the same as the men. Number one's causal. Is this a mission I'm ready to take on? Is everything in place? Do I have my plans? Do I have my team? Everything was in place. Yes. Okay, great. Birth, and then bring that energy right down to the feet of the bodysuit. I'm on the planet and my vibration is clear, the same vibration that I am in a soul family. I'm anchoring it to the planet. You see? Now she's invisible. Nobody knows she's there. Once she's on the planet, she flows the energy into the earth, into Gaia. Hi, knocking on grandmother's door. Here I am. Come on in. Here's the rest of your sisters, all sitting around, chatting, cooking, having quilting bees, talking about this new planet. What have we learned? And there's a huge bunch of circles of sisters creating the roots. We are the trees. That's why women's connection to trees and nature is just a little bit different than men. So we're here doing the trees and doing our roots. And then as we're ready, we're going to go up into the earth world and look out over that earth to say, where do I want to be? It's a village, it's not independent. We're in a village. Where do we want to be? And what do I think we need? This particular climate is X. This bodysuit responds this way. I mean, it's like exploring, what do I need in this new world? That's the base chakra. Once I have determined that and put a design in place, here's where we design. Then we move up to the energy, the power of the creative chakra, to use the law of manifestation to bring forth the garden, if you will. We sang the flowers, we called forth the animals, we gathered what was here that would be helpful. We just wove this community, this village, and the earth, and all that earth offered through the law of manifestation, through our creative chakra. And we could always go back and visit, and did. How are you doing and what are you learning? Because we were learning that it's a whole different way of being. Now, once that was in place, then we moved to the solar plexus. And that is where we go like, great, let's just test. How's this fruit taste? How does that fruit taste? Where did that plant come from? Let's taste it. And that's where we began to see that there were plants and experiences that would expand our design and our family, and other plants, other designs, other ideas that would crush them. So this is our discernment place. That's why we are sensitive. And there's the place where we say yes to some things, that everything that expands, and we say not acceptable, PTO, to everything that's not of our light. Now, once that had been done and mission worked with for a period of time, enough time that it made it safe for our souls in male bodysuits, they could join us. And we could build then together in a different way, in a more concrete way. That never happened. And so we've been working together. We've been doing the best we can. But you see, the whole upside down has kept relationships upside down. It's kept families upside down. It's kept countries upside down. And the big missing piece was this solar plexus: discern, choose, decide, and with authority say yes or no. And everyone in the village trusted the voice. Okay. And all of this went on. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move you to this one, and I'm going to let you, and I'm going to try and make this a little bit bigger because it's on one sheet. I tried to, if I didn't on two, it's not going to, I think it'll go out. No, in. On two sheets, you couldn't have seen it. So this is what I'm going to have you spend maybe 10 minutes. Well, we're going to go into a place for you to, okay, we're going to go one more time. And you could also do full screen on your computer if this is, oh, I did it again, wrong. We're going in. I'm going to go one more in, and I'm hoping that you can read it enough, because I'm going to leave this with you. Let's see if I can pull this out even more. And I'm going to minimize our pictures. So here, what I want you to do is to see where you are in the game plan. So how well connected to you, with you, are you to your spiritual control center on a scale of 1 to 10? How grounded do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10, etc.? Just go through those and see where you're a 1, where you're a 5, where you're a 10. And because this is a plan you haven't seen before. I don't think you've ever seen this chakra layout before. And yet it holds your guidance for coming into your purpose, into your community, into alignment to the greater plan. So I'm going to stop sharing just long. No, I'm not, because it would be too hard to get back to. So I'm just open up your mic and tell me, if this is an assignment for the next 10 minutes. If you need more, we'll give you more. Where you're going to,
I think I'm good.
Yeah, you're going to evaluate yourself. Does that make sense, or do you have questions?
No, that makes sense. Go through each one and give myself a score 1 to 10 on how.
Yep, how well you're doing. And if there's questions you don't understand what that means, that's fine too. But just take time to go through. Okay, this is the next. So this is really the chakra unfoldment for females. The first is the causal. The second is the feet. You see what I'm saying? It's a whole different layout.
Yep.
But so where you are in the layout, this gives you a way to, I'll put right here, a way to evaluate where you are on the path at this moment. And you'll see that it is, it's an evaluation that you could do periodically, like, okay, 6 months down the road, go through it and say, whoop, maybe I skipped one or whatever. So where are you baseline today with this, with these chakras? And so I'm going to I'm just going to turn off my mute. I'm going to be mute, and I'm going to just set the clock, and I'll be back. It's let's see, it's 45 to, let's come back at on the hour. That
Okay.
gives you 15 minutes, which means it gives you time for a break too. Okay?
Perfect. Sounds
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
One of the things you might consider doing as you go and evaluate each position, each chakra, is make an idea, make a note of what you would add or what you might do differently, to open that power center more or connect with it more. This would be a good time to do that too. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I think there we go. I have to find the right button.
No worries. It's okay.
Okay, so let's talk about what that was like. So you start, then I'll share, and then we'll go back and forth till we've shared whatever we want to share. So
Yeah. No, that was actually really interesting. It kind of, for me, it felt like it kind of scaled itself down. So it's like, I felt like with 1 and 2, like my calls of my feet, I definitely am very connected to my higher purpose and why I'm here. And then I also am very much so grounded here. And I've actually been doing a lot of work on that lately. So I feel like I'm kind of evenly right now, kind of at a 10. Like I have a lot of clarity on that. And I am super, super grounded in that. Like I know definitely, like, yeah. And I've never quite felt so grounded. It's been very interesting lately. That's been really dialing in a lot for me, that being so grounded and then also being very connected and kind of having the two at the same time. Typically, if I'm super grounded, I'm not connected. And if I'm really connected, then I'm not grounded and I'm like all over the place. But lately I've really have been feeling that. And that kind of was activated. I've been doing this meditation with a golden cord in my solar plexus and in my sacral, and then sending it down to the core of the earth and winding it around the core of the earth, and then doing that energy exchange where I'm letting stuff go and then bringing stuff in, and kind of bringing that back around to what one of the bottom ones where it was about having that energetic exchange, and it kind of reminded me of the Kundalini and kind of bringing that up and down and having that even exchange. So it's really interesting because my numbers kind of started at a 10 for those. But then I found as I worked my way down, I kind of went to a 9 and then to some 8s and then like some 7 and 8s where it's like I'm still working on it. Like feeling the community, the feeling connected to the village, and like having those sisters and feeling connected to the sisters. That connection, like it's there, but like I don't really quite trust it yet. And kind of really the theme I'm getting on all these other ones where I'm kind of down in like a 7, 8 and in the 7s is where it's still bringing that trust. Like I'm still learning to trust it, especially when it comes into really like tapping into my additional gifts. So part of like using my voice, communicating, the singing, like all of that is new for me. A lot of one of the contracts you mentioned earlier about keeping ourselves small, that was definitely a contract I was signed. And so breaking free of that contract where I allow my light to shine, where I allow my voice, I allow myself like to sing the harmonics, like that's all very new for me. And so I'm still majority of the time, am I in that space? Yes. But do I still have moments where I don't allow myself? Yes. So like I'm still finding that balance. I'm still finding that the trust to be able to be in that completely. So even though I do see my vision and even though I am still grounded, occasionally sometimes there's not always a full connection. And I think I'm still learning to trust those things. And some of those things still come from my own experiences. So while this whole landscape and this whole platform is so very new and it's all very there and it's tangible and I believe it and I see it, it's also still kind of a little bit of that, let's prove it type of deal. Like I still kind of need to have it proven to me. I don't know how else, because I still have so much tangible evidence of the things that have been done to me, that to believe that the opposite is there, I still need to see it. So I'm still kind of in that this and that are true and it's all there, but let's just kind of wait and see. I test the waters, and the more I get that the more I get that feedback and the more I see the shifts, then the more that, and that's why it's more of like a 7, 8, as opposed to like a 5-6, because it's not a 50-50 anymore. It's definitely more in that 75 percentile, but it's not quite to 100% because it's still old things creep up and I have a woman. And even though, and it's right, it's kind of also that like remembering that light check. Is this my light? Is this not my light? Sometimes in a space of awareness enough to be able to do that. Other times things kind of cycle through and then I'm like, oh wait, hold on, is this even mine? And then, so it's still kind of working through that and shedding some of the old ways and really allowing for the new way and really allowing for that newer connection and staying in that causal and that feet connection, like staying grounded and staying connected and not allowing one to overpower the other. And that's why I still feel like in some of those other areas, when it came to like balance and things like that, I'm over the 50%, but I'm not quite always there. I still waffle back and forth.
Yeah, that's really good. So with me, I look, what, like, I realize for me that the causal, I mean, it's pretty, that's kind of where I live a lot. And I'm very committed to whatever is done in the unseen has an impact on the planet. It's, I'm not going to be disconnected from it. But I also realize as I look at this is how much time do I spend doing activities on the ground, like playing in the snow. I mean, literally, take it literally. I'm on this earth and look what this earth has for me. And so I went, I really want to increase that. I really want to plan more physical, tactile energies to say, Mom, I'm here in a different way. And kind of the same thing. I mean, I definitely on 3 spent a lot of time recognizing and in that imagination world, seeing the roots of the sisterhood. I mean, that is our power. That is our power together, right? And we have not remembered that and been. When I grew up, it was avoid spending time with women because it's a waste of time. So I have to get over all of that. So I want to spend more time on Earth on 3, and I think it's for me the base, because everything shifts and change, is evaluating that again. Because okay, here I am at this different place with more knowledge, with different knowledge. What am I going to do about evaluating what I want and need so I can design differently? It's like going through the process again is kind of what I'm seeing for myself. The big thing for women, we were disconnected from the solar plexus. So it totally bypassed our discerning and authority voice. And we were told we had to serve with the heart. So what we're rebuilding is that solar plexus. So discern and then trust. I mean, that's exactly what you spoke of, isn't it? Is building trust. And part of that is understanding that we also have been programmed as women to pull each other down and to not trust. And if you shine, I've got to pull you down to keep everybody safe. So that solar plexus, that is the trust area, that is really new in a new way for all of us as women, And what's interesting is to think about it when these chakras were designed to unfold, not full blown. So as a baby, it was designed that moms, grandmoms would hold the causal team in place. Hi, son. Hello. Hold the causal information in place and teach the baby how to remember she had friends. So that was and then, how to be on them and it was supposed to unfold step by step by step. And what happened is we got the roots ripped away. Don't be with other women. It's a waste of time. And no, you're not going to thrive. You're going to survive. So don't worry about wants. we'll tell you. And then not going to create the garden. You're going to create lots of babies, which was not our plan initially, because we would have never brought babies into this mess. So
No.
everything is so crazy how, and then we didn't even work, and then we totally skipped the solar plexus. Serve,
Hmm.
that was love, serving. And then we've tried to unfold these other parts of ourselves again on that shaky base.
And
And
the one that hits home for me so much is that disconnect from other women. And that's where I have, and thank God for this and for you and like for Kelly. And I mean, and just really in the last 6 months for me, have I gained a solid foundation with women who are in the same connection. And I'm really like, that's done a lot for me,
mhm,
and regaining trust and just to trust women in period, just to be
yeah,
able to trust a female form. Because I mean, I have a mother, I have a sister, can't trust any of them. Like
yeah,
if I want to sabotage myself,
yeah,
I will tell my mother and my sister what I'm up to.
yeah, I get that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because the instant I'm shy, and this whole not allowing myself to speak, not allowing myself to sing. I don't allow myself to sing because I would sing when I was a kid, and my mom and my sister would tell me I have a horrible singing voice. So I stopped singing because I was told I sounded horrible. Um,
mhm,
so it's a lot of kind of having to rewrite
yeah,
that whole experience and finding other women to rewrite that experience with. Because I've
yeah.
spent majority of my life trying to rewrite these experiences, thinking, but it's finding women that are on the same path or that are being awakened the same way to be able to do that.
Yes. And I think for me, it just like when you said the same thing, for me, what I realized is I really want this roots of sisterhood. And it's not that I haven't got some really good, because I do, but I also want it to be even more expansive.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the only one who had went through, and you weren't the only one that went through we can't trust each other. And so I want it to grow until I was like, we so trust each other. I want it to be everywhere. So
Yes.
the trust of each other. And then the other part of that is in the is the hara. Like,
Mm-hmm.
now that we trust and we've got the authority voice to again expand our a community in a different way
Mm-hmm.
than the roots, that community like on the planet. So that expansion into community, which is it has to be based on females holding hands to say, yes, I trust that when you say that isn't good for you, I trust that's true, and I hold your space while you shift, change, or eliminate it. You know what I mean? So that we have
Mm-hmm.
that kind of trust to build from discernment and not say, oh, you're crazy. Oh, no, you must be hypochondriac. It's that
Or
trust.
that we have to outdo each other, that if one of us is shining, we have to dull her light because she'll shine too brightly for the rest of us. Like that whole
That,
concept that we have to tear each other down instead of
yeah.
building each other up.
Yep. There's a lot that I know in my work. There's been a lot we've done to heal group consciousness in the female psyche, and it's not finished yet. But now more and more women are saying like, okay, yeah, where did that come from? So okay, that wasn't in our galactic plan. That doesn't exist in our galactic landscape. So where did it get inserted? How did we each buy it? And we keep
Yep.
holding until we deep six and have it gone. So
Yep.
so for me, it's really understanding that we took this step. We didn't even get in this lifetime. You didn't even get, and I didn't either. You didn't get a mother and grandmother singing
No.
songs to you about your spiritual angels,
Yep.
right?
Nope.
And yet now, so we didn't even have that activated, and yet we're on the planet running around learning to walk, but we don't have this connection, right? And so then we start already building on shaky ground, don't we? So letting ourselves even go back and say, what would that look like when I was a baby? And
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the galactic, information for next year is like, okay, this is how does it apply? This is how does it apply? And letting ourselves recognize we've done a little of all of that in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But how about if let's go back and let it be it. We don't do number two till we really feel solid with number one, and bring number one into number two. And you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's a really great opportunity to be together at this moment in time. I woke up today. I had a healing session to do with a client, and I woke up today after, we've got Saturn, the planet of form and of discipline, of you could say male patriarchy. The systems are built out of like
The authority. Yep.
That's right. And what had been, because that's not who our brothers in male bodysuits were supposed to be. So here's Saturn, who's got these structures that we call I call it systemic domination. And then you have Jupiter, who's going to expand and shine the light and make it look bigger and bigger and bigger, which is what 2020 did, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Why? To cause it to
disseminate.
dissolve. And all doing it in this sign of Aquarius is like you've got to use those tools that are like beyond the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Aquarius is not going to be like, okay, call a board meeting.
Yeah,
It's
no.
going to be Aquarius. And then you have Pluto, the planet that says you're going to transform back to what it was that we had planned. You're going to get back into a greater, right? Or I'm going to surgically cut off what doesn't work. So I mean, what a great combination that we can say, I'm on it. What am I going to let go of? Pluto, help me get rid of it. What's the new design? Break the old structures. I don't have to be in that box. Thank you, Jupiter. Thank you to the old box. Thank you, Jupiter.
Yep.
Now let's build differently. Perfect timing, right?
It's amazing.
It is. It is amazing. And even, I don't know if you've heard, the bot, someone called it the grandmother bots of Uluru in Australia. And supposedly, and it's in their traditions, it's like there's this box with these gifts, these codes that was to be activated at a certain time, and they felt like now was the time. And part of that was the path to the galactic, which I found very, very interesting, because it's here we are on Gaia connecting to the galactic.
Yep.
So we can get our path to purpose based on galactic.
Yep.
And here we are doing what we're doing. So kudos. So here you've got this in place. In the handout, there'll be a little check. You can keep going back and say, okay, where am I? Where do I want to be? Maybe I want to stop some of these other things. Maybe I want to stop speaking and calling in new gifts. And, maybe I want to stop that to go back and start all over again and say, where am I? And then bring who am I forward and let it come up periodically, and you've got that now to go. I didn't put in the male path because the male path is very simple. It should never have been anything more holding, yes, I'm on mission.
Holding the space for the female.
Inspiration, filling with love, period.
Yep.
That should have been, we would have gotten no further than that, because once the male energy moves beyond that down into the lower frequencies, now the outsiders take over and they become the god of Adam. I call it the god of Adam.
Yeah.
Because there's no female there to say, wait a minute, not. So we're redoing a lot of things. Really great. So I want to read
amazing.
Poem. Yeah. I'm gonna stop with this poem. And it's a poem by a poet I've known of for a very long time. Her name's Carol Lynn Pearson. And she recently just published a book of poetry called Message. And this one is called Message from Mother. For all those little gifts you gave to the mythologists and the archaeologists to give to me, I thank you, Mother. For that precious big-bellied figurine pressed by Paleolithic hands and the magical naked outline of you on the walls of caves, I thank you. I thought I was a motherless child in an almost motherless home. And then your little surprises began to come, as did my tears, my grateful tears, for there was soft and your ancient soft and wisdom voice. I am here. I am female. I am divine. Thank you for the word mother, spoken centuries before the word father, for blood and baby do not lie, but testify that mother was the first thing, the power that created and birthed the universe and all in it, the sea, the earth, the animals, the upright ones, the men and women who lived in peace within her safe cycle and gathered food to the easy sound of wind and rain. I am here. I am female. I am divine. I thank you, Mother, for brooding over your people when the dark times came, when the invaders came, and the Indo-Europeans from the north, and the Seminites from the desert, turning the birthing upside down, so that Athena was born of the forehead of Zeus, and Eve was born of the rib of Adam. Their gods were male, and their swords were bronze, and they named you Abomination, and butchered and buried you without knowing they were planting you, for you are the transformer who turns a seed into a tree, the tree of life, who is sturdy and many and grew in all places, the goddess of many names that I read now on pages made from the tree that speak for the tree. I am here. I am female. I am divine. Athena, Ceres, Kiradwin, Dimitri, Diana, Hathor, Anana, Isis, Kali, Mot, Venus, hundreds more shining black or ivory or red, and each a name that points to Mother. The past does what the past is, and it is gone. Men are still warriors, but not all, for many understand that their very being turns now on our turning to our Mother, who is ready to correct our view of heaven so that God herself and God himself, who are always one, can join on earth to bless the confused billions. The next step is ours, daughters of our Mother. And did we ever think she would not uphold us in our essential mission? We thank you, Mother, as now we rise, the women with microphones in the halls of government, halls of justice, of media, of religion, the women penning books and scribbling poems, the women helping women buy a goat or a sewing machine, the women marching with signs and songs. There is a power in our words, and our words are these. We are here. We are female. We are divine. Isn't that great?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
So here we are. So your assignments is, where are you? Evaluate periodically, add what you know, make it as big, take time through the holidays, let this all simmer, and we'll see where we end up next week. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate your presence.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's been so amazing. So thank you so much.
You bet. Enjoy the time with your son and boyfriend and holidays.
Yes.
And snow and cat.
Yeah.
Cats.
And all the things. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. You
Okay.
too. Are we Are we still meeting Tuesday though, right? We're good
Yeah,
next week,
we haven't,
Tuesday?
yeah, we didn't cancel that one, and I think it'll be okay. It'll be what it
Okay,
is. Yeah. So
perfect. Cool.
I'll send out a reminder again. It was kind of short, but I'll send out a reminder next week too. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank
Yes.
you. Blessings.
Thank you. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.